wrestling fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling, the exciting professional wrestling. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of that exciting action coming up. You're going to see the Mid-South Tag Team titles on the line, and due to so many requests from you fans in this title match for the Mid-South Tag Team Championship, there'll be two referees. The Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson versus the Alamo Busters, Chavo and Hector Guerrero. Not only that, we have another title match on this week's card, Bill. Tell them about it.
Well, as you know, last week the title match for the North American title against Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Brad Armstrong went to a time limit draw. Dr. Death was very upset, petitioned for another match. However, Grizzly Smith had already signed a title match. He had a big surprise for the fans. Not one, but two title matches today. The second match will be for the North American title. It'll be Brad Armstrong against Ted DiBiase. But right now, we've got one of the greatest situations, I think, ever. You know, last week, we awarded Hacksaw Jim Duggan some Solid Gold Lucien Bacard cufflinks as the 1984 Athlete of the Year in Mid-South. And DiBiase ridiculed Duggan so bad about, he said that's like putting mag wheels on a dump truck or taking a drunk to the Waldorf for dinner, that Duggan says, hey, you don't think I dress up? Sure I do. And he's here to show us he can step out on the town. Let's go to Jim Ross in the ring.
Very festive time here in Mid-South Wrestling. Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a very beautiful suit, I might say.
Thank you very much, Jim Ross. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for these gold cufflinks that I got. My family's very happy that I finally got dressed up a little bit. And I just want to tell Ted DiBiase something. When Hacksaw Duggan, you just talk about him laying out back, being a drunken bum. I just want to show you what class is all about. Because when Hacksaw Duggan goes out, he gets himself a fine lady. He gets himself he gets himself some fine clothes. And I know how to treat a woman, too, baby. They didn't see Jim Ross a dozen beautiful roses for old Punch, my #1 girl. Now, you know, Ted DiBiase's always got a big mouth yelling about how Hacksaw Duggan doesn't have no class. Well, you just can't put on a suit. You just can't wear fancy damn clothes. Can I say you have class or no class? There's a lot more to it than that, Jim Ross. It's what's inside a person that really counts.
It certainly is. And of course, you can't buy class off a rack in a store. There's no doubt about that.
That's true. We had a little problem getting myself a tuxedo like this, especially such a fancy thing. Now listen to what I'm talking about. Step back, honey. You don't want to get messed up in this. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, gentlemen, now there's no...
No, I can't come here. I'm not even wrestling tonight. I just come down to say hello to all the folks. And DiBiase's typical, you got to come down here and you got to ruin everything.
Now, wait.
Well, if it isn't Godzilla in a tux. I'll tell you something, Duggan. There's a lot more to having class than dressing up in a suit and having a pretty girl on your arm. I gotta admit, it's a nice suit, but it's kind of like putting a nice piece of clothing on a scarecrow out in some cornfield. Hey, I don't have to take this crap today. I came down here just to say hello to my friends and my people and say thank you for being chosen Athlete of the Year. Now you come down here and you start running your mouth. If I wasn't quite the gentleman that I am, That's right, Duggan. That's right, Duggan. Lose your composure. That's just another sign of not having any class at all. Duggan, you're born with class. You don't wear it. I noticed the tie's the same color as your neck, red. And where'd you find the cummerbund to fit you? Omar the tent maker? I'll tell you what I ought to do, Duggan. I just ought to rip that suit right off your back because you ain't classy enough to wear those kind of threads. Well, wait a minute, tough guy. Before you start making any fancy damn moves to the old Hacksaw Duggan, to rip off my clothes, I just want to remind you two something. I am from New York, and when I did dress up to go out on town, I had my hands on something that you didn't see. That's right, baby. I come prepared. Come on. You guys want to turn my clothes? Well, come on in.
Let's turn them off. We're going to restore some order right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back with the Mid-South Tag Team Championship right after this.
Well, Boyd, I appreciate Hacksaw Duggan dropping by and showing off his fine threads before he went out on the town, and it looks like he has a real sweet lady. He's very protective of her. I want to say one thing. He told me that, you know, in New York, when he went out, a lot of guys carried a walking stick when they were dressed in a tuxedo. He said he had to always ride the A train home And when you ride the A train, the baddest subway in New York, you always had a real solid walking stick, and that was solid steel. But right now, let's go to Jim Ross in the ring. We got the Mid-South tag titles on the line. 2 referees. So many fans have asked us to try 2 referees in a match. We have 2 referees for this title bout. Let's go to Jim Ross now.
This match is for the Mid-South Tag Team Championship. 1 fall or television time remaining. Introducing first the challengers. A combined weight.
Wait a minute, Mr. Ross. We have our own man. We have our own man that is going to introduce us. We have a man that we have hired to manage us today. Mr. Jim Cornette, please come here. How are you, my friend? There's nobody that knows more than the rock and roll than you do. And we have been wanting the rock and roll, and what does Mid-South do? They give us a match, but they gave us 2 referees. And none of them are Mexican. But that's all right. That's why you're here. My friend, to show the gratitude that we have hired you, we're going to pay you with gold, 9.9999%, 50 pesos gold, like the Mexicans pay their debts. Not like the United States pay with checks, with real gold. Let me tell you something, Chavo. Nobody knows more about the Rock and Roll Express than I do. I've just guided my men, the Midnight Express, to the American Tag Team Championship.
Right.
But we still remember the Rock and Roll Express. I'll do anything to get those belts away from them. I would have done this, as a matter of fact, for nothing. But since you offered, I would be most happy to take this fine representative of your country as payment for managing you in this match tonight. You're going to have those Mid-South Tag Team titles. Don't worry about it. The 2 referees don't mean a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you now the Alamo Busters from Mexico, Chavo and Hector Guerrero.
The Rock and Roll Express.
Mid-South Tag Team Championship time is 2 referees. You heard the jeers as Jim Cornette appeared to take over in this match, managing Chavo and Hector Guerrero, the Alamo Busters. But those jeers turned to cheers as the popular tag team, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, came to the ring. Bill?
Oh, boy, we just barely got started in this exciting hour of Mid-South, and there's more things happened already than you can shake a stick at. This match, Jim Cornette showing up, them saying they're hiring him with 50 peso gold pieces. Cornette, of course, has just guided the Midnight Express to the American Tag title in Dallas, Texas over the Fantastic, and he's here to help Chavo and Guerrero on a one-night contract, apparently, to gain the Mid-South Tag titles from Ricky and Robert. We have 2 referees out here, and already Chavo and Hector protesting the fact that one of them should be Mexican. However, the die is cast. An exciting time. And we still have a North American title match to follow with Ted DiBiase against Brad Armstrong. A tremendous new video with Hacksaw Butch Reed, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Iceman. Hang on to your seat. Quick move. Look at Ricky Martin. These guys are sudden and quick, I'm telling you. Chavo Guerrero, former junior heavyweight champion of the world. Did you see that move?
Right.
I'm telling you, in matches with these guys, with their speed and quickness, you're going to see things you've never seen in your life. And listen to this crowd. They love the rock and roll.
You don't have to wait for excitement on Mid-South. It starts with exciting and builds up all the way.
Let's get one up and keep him in the ring.
Ted DiBiase wanting to upset Hacksaw Duggan's night on the town. But the big man had his walking stick inside the roses. Had a dozen beautiful red roses for his lady. He says he knows how to treat a lady. And from what I've heard, the big man, as rough and tough as he is pretty gentle. Armbar. For the Mid-South Tag titles, this heralded match right here on television. This is what makes Mid-South the #1 viewed television program. The one that even the insiders watch. The tremendous black market we've learned in the East and West Coast of fans trading cassettes of Mid-South. And it's really a compliment to us and to the fans that helped to make it the greatest wrestling in the world today. Look at this move. Get used to it. They've got him. I'm telling you, boy, there's no way to commentate or you just got to let the pictures, it's right there in the ring. And there's Jim Cornette. And certainly this man has been against the Rock and Roll Express more violently and more tenaciously than any man in history. And of course, the Rock and Roll Express finally ran the Midnight Express out with that outstanding and dangerous, exciting scaffold match. Oh, Robert Gibson just missed going for the coup de grace there, and it looks like he ran his shoulder into that steel post. And Chavo and Hector Guerrero have just stopped the momentum of the Rock and Roll Express. Standing suplex. Hector Guerrero. Very nationalistic. I will have to disagree with them saying that Mexico pays their debts with solid gold, because that's not been the case. Here the fans here cheer for the Rock and Roll. The Rock and Roll symbolize the fighting heart of Mid-South. These kids give it their all. I've never seen, and I don't know, sometimes words lose me to explain the feeling that is in the arenas with the Rock and Roll. The fans are so loyal to them, and the Rock and Roll pay that loyalty back by giving it 100%. Some of the arenas, the walls are placarded with posters about how much the fans love Rock and Roll. This team has truly stormed and captured the Mid-South area, and they've changed tag team wrestling forever with their quickness, their style, their color. These good-looking youngsters, it reminds you of going to a rock show when you see the beautiful young ladies rushing to meet them and cheering them on. But right now, they're in there in what they know best, tag team wrestling. They're specialists, but they're against two specialists, a brother team, and they've got their nemesis, Jim Cornette, cheering on and managing Chavo and Hector Guerrero. Robert Gibson in a lot of trouble. Chavo and Hector, international stars. They've wrestled all over the world. There goes Robert. Looks like he's making the tag to Ricky. Tag is made. Ricky Morton's in. Ricky Morton, explosive. Blonde hair flying as he's flying. Drop kick, drop kick, drop kick. Referee try to keep Chavo Guerrero out of there. Referee Ronnie West on the floor. He was trying to keep Chavo Guerrero out of there. Cornette has just given something to Chavo Guerrero. Ricky Morton just drop kicked Jim Cornette, put on the concrete. Ricky Morton got him. What did he hit him? Hey, Chavo Guerrero just hit Ricky Morton with that bag of gold coins. It splattered all over the floor. Carl Fergie came in. He was saying about, we've got new Mid-South Tag Team Champions. The Guerreros had paid off, and the coin was returned as Chavo used it to hit Ricky Morton and knock him unconscious. And we have new Mid-South Tag Team Champions.
And we'll return with more action right after this important message.
Hello again, everybody. Jim Ross here from Mid-South Wrestling. Thanks very much for being with us here on Channel 26. Some great area wrestling to tell you about on Sunday, February 3rd in Homa's East Park Recreation Center, 7:30. You'll see the Iceman. You'll see Hacksaw Reed. You'll see Ted DiBiase, Kamala, and Midgets on this super card. On Saturday, February 9th in La Ronja at the Coliseum, 7:30 is the bell time. The Rock and Roll Express will be there, as will Terry Taylor, Midgets, Chavo, and Hector Guerrero, and many more. Now remember, 7 great matches Monday, January 28th. That's this Monday night, 7:30 at the UNO Lakefront Arena. The grudge battle of the year. It's Hacksaw Jim Duggan against Ted DiBiase. You'll see Iceman King Parsons against the Nature Boy. You'll see a midget tag team matchup. You'll see Brad Armstrong on this card, and you'll see a big tag team matchup when Hacksaw Butch Reed and Terry Taylor, they'll team up for the first time here at the Lakefront. Who would have thought that? Against Dr. Death and Sheik Hercules Hernandez. We'll talk about this new team, but right now let's hear from their challengers.
New Orleans people, you saw last time I was there with Ted DiBiase against Terry Gordy and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Both two redneck hippies couldn't tie their own shoes at the same time. Well, let me tell you something. I proved to you people, and so did Ted DiBiase, that we're unbeatable. And now I'm standing here with the strongest man in Mid-South, Hercules Hernandez, going against Butch Reed and Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor, we scraped you off the floor. And Hacksaw, you're in for a new idea, brother.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be quite a matchup. It's going to be Reed and Taylor for the first time at the UNO Lakefront Arena. Gentlemen, first of all, how did this come about?
Well, yeah, it's hard to believe that Butch Reed and myself would be on the same side, but if anybody knows how tough Butch Reed is, it's got to be me. So he came down, he asked me if I'd be his partner against these two guys, Akbar. He's got Hercules Hernandez out here, and Dr. Death. Everybody knows how far back we go. When it comes down to it, in New Orleans, Butch Reed and I are going to take care of some business. We got to weed out the trash in Mid-South, and we're going to start right here in New Orleans.
Trash is right, baby. And what you do with trash, you set it on fire. And see, fire is coming to UNO. And it's right here, you understand? We used to make a whole lot of fire in the ring between us, understand? We used to give each other knuckle knocks left and right. But now, we're going to be trading them with each other. Upside your head, you understand? Soup bones going to be flying at UNO. Because if there's anybody that I can't stand, it's that Sheik, that geek, Hercules, nobody having Hernandez, and Steve, Dr. Doofus Williams, was sucking at his head too many practice snaps, too many football practices without his headgear. So y'all stumble, fumble, and fall on down to UNO and get took out, baby.
It's going to be a great one this Monday night. Great seats are still available at all Ticketmaster outlets, and we want to thank all the loyal fans who braved the terrible weather last Monday night to join us. We'll see you again this Monday night at the Lakefront Arena at 7:30.
Jim Ross, the referees Carl Fergie, Ronnie West had a conference, and Ronnie West was the official referee of record, although Carl Fergie was out there too, and Carl Fergie was distracted helping up Ronnie West. But Ronnie West claims that he saw a rule infraction. Let's go to the ring right now with Jim Ross and the official.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very unusual situation here. You just saw the Mid-South Tag Team titles on the line. Ronnie West is the chief referee. The referee assigned in the ring, Carl Fergie outside the ring. Gentlemen, there's got to be a decision rendered at this point in time. Based on what we have, these are not gold pesos, but lead slugs, washers.
Jim, I know there was 2 referees signed for this match. I did take a look out the ring. Carl did roll back in and made the count, but I did see the Guerrero hit him in the back of the head with this object.
Which necessitates, Ronnie, a foreign object will necessitate a disqualification. Is this correct?
We're going to have to disqualify the Guerreros, and the Rock and Roll Express will retain their titles.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear it. The Rock and Roll Express are still the Mid-South Tag Champions. These lead slugs are what happened. Now let's go back to Cowboy Bill Watts at the death.
The fact that what was in the bag is lead washers rather than gold coins doesn't really affect the outcome. I think the main thing, as you just heard, Chief Referee Ronnie West actually saw Chavo Guerrero hit him with the bag, and then they've gotten the proof back from the fans, and the 2 referees stood up and they rendered a judgment, and the Rock and Roll Express are still the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Let's go back to Jim Ross for the next match here on tonight's card.
Ladies and gentlemen, this tag team match on Mid-South Wrestling is one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing first in the blue corner at 240 pounds from Athens, Georgia, Josh Stroud. His partner at 220 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, Jimmy Powell. Their opponent at 258 pounds from Bad Street, Sheik Hercules Hernandez. And from the University of Oklahoma at 276 pounds, Dr. Death Steve Williams. And they're presented by General Skandar Akbar.
General Skandar Akbar in the ring with Sheik Hercules Hernandez and Steve Dr. Death Williams against Josh Stroud and Jim Powell. Randy Anderson calls for the bell, and it'll be Josh Stroud against Sheik Hercules.
And has Josh Stroud gotten bigger? He has been on a tremendous powerlifting working out schedule. He reports next week to the United States Football League for a tryout as a running back with the Florida team. And this kid, and what a transformation we've seen in the size and strength of this youngster. But he's in there against Bad Street, Hercules Hernandez, who knows no man that puts fear in him and can stand with anybody's strength. But Josh Stroud just showed fragility, and Bad Street just got slammed. And, of course, you've got four-time All-American Dr. Death. And I don't care what your physique is, Dr. Death is not impressed by physique. A tremendous decision, showing the bravery and the courage of the referees to make a decision. Chavo and Hector Guerrero left the ring as the Mid-South Tag Champions, but it is now ruled a disqualification. The Rock and Roll Express is still the champion. So we want to thank the many, many fans that sent in so much mail about two referees in a tag team bout, because the first time we tried it here on television, I would say it certainly helped to right a tremendous wrong. Of course, I'm sure we haven't heard the last from Chavo and Hector Guerrero as Jim Powell finds out just why Dr. Death Steve Williams was a four-time All-American at the University of Oklahoma. We've still got upcoming the Iceman Dale Veazey. We got Brad Armstrong against Ted DiBiase for the North American title. A tremendous video on Hacksaw Butch Reed, the new Hacksaw Butch Reed, a man who really has been touched by the backing he's got from the fans and is starting to give back in like kind. Oh, look at that awesome clothesline by those powerful arms of Hercules, Sheik Hercules Hernandez. Skandar Akbar knows what he's investing his money in. Dr. Death with the Oklahoma Stampede, 280 pounds of devastation.
And when you mention the one word, it's powerful, and that gains a victory for Sheik Hercules and Steve Dr. Death Williams. We have more action coming up. The Iceman in the ring after this word from the exciting Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
Match on Mid-South Wrestling is one fall or a 10-minute time limit. Introducing first in the red corner from Georgia at 237 pounds, Dale Veazey.
From Georgia, and his opponent as he comes down to the music and the gyrations entering the ring from St. Louis, Missouri, King Parsons, the wrestling Iceman. There's the bell called for by Carl Fergie. Here's Bill Watts.
And he comes down to that music, We Are Family, by Sister Sledge. And I'm telling you, Iceman can get down. And he came to Mid-South for one reason. He's fed up with Akbar. The last couple of weeks, he has really caused Skandar Akbar's domination march a lot of problems, and I'm sure the general is going to try to figure a way to put the Iceman out of commission. But it seems like a lot of folks are rallying behind Hacksaw Butch Reed. Butch Reed refused to be a part of Skandar Akbar. Broke the solid gold Rolex President wristwatch offered to him by Buddy Landell. Looks like Iceman's got him. The greatest thing that ever happened, that I think people that are athletes and enjoy the animosities, the pride, and the jealousy that permeates any but time you're striving for the top, when they saw Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Butch Reed put aside their old differences and say, we better get together to stop this. And then the Iceman faced Kamala. Kamala, the Ugandan warrior, a man that's so awesome. He paid a price, and instead of running from it, he's going to Dallas finish my business, and I'm coming back. And here he is. Quick Japanese arm drag and arm bar, and the Iceman is on top of Dale Vesey. Coming up next for the North American title, Brad Armstrong and Ted DiBiase. And, of course, the Rock and Roll Express. They suffered a lot of pain and a close call, but they are still the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. However, I think they realize just how deadly serious Chavo and Hector Guerrero are about gaining those titles, and they've enlisted a new ally in Jim Cornette. Well, I'm telling you, Iceman showed you how to use his head right there. You know, one of the most vicious things in the world in a street fight is a short headbutt. Well placed. It can rip your nose. It can cut your cheek. It can be devastating. And Iceman keeps it short, direct, and under control. Doesn't have to go a long way. Just has to connect right. Dale Vesey was really elevated on that one. Body slam. The Iceman has Dale Vesey a little bit confused out there right now because he's never let him breathe. And there's Ice with that flying clothesline of another victory for the Iceman.
Iceman is here and everybody's happy. He gains another victory on Mid-South. The North American title coming up following these words.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a notice here and some very important announcement about the card Monday night. But remember now, Sunday, February 3rd, wrestling in Homa's East Park Recreation Center, an all-star card there. And on Saturday, February the 9th, in La Ronge at the Coliseum, Rock and Roll Express, Terry Taylor, Midgets, Chavo, Hector Guerrero, and many more. Well, just been handed a notice. This has just been added. Lights out. No disqualification, no sanction by Mid-South Sports. It will happen this Monday night at 7:30 at the UNO Lakefront Arena. The Rock and Roll Express will go against Chavo and Hector Guerrero. Lights out. Now, there's no titles on the line. This is going to be a brawl, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk to the Rock and Roll Express in one moment. Right now, let's hear from the Guerreros.
Hey, Rico, wake up, man. It's not the 4th of July, man. It's your dude.
Hey, you just saw it. You just saw exactly what happened. Exactly what was to be expected from Mid-South. First time ever we wanted a championship match. Okay, it'll be on TV. Okay, first time ever 2 referees on TV. They put every obstacle that they could, and we still won. And then they took the belt from us. They took it from us. And now we got them in New Orleans. And look at the stipulations. No rules. Lights out, which means it's not sanctioned by Mid-South. So probably when we win there again, you'll take it away from us. But we have something up our sleeve, brother. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, the Mid-South champions. If you think what happened right now on television is something, we have made it a personal issue. And when we get to New Orleans, Hector and Chavo Guerrero are going to be the Mid-South champions, and it doesn't matter what it takes to get it, and we just proved it on TV.
Well, I think the referees made the right and the just decision in this situation.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross. For the last year, we put up with all kinds of bull crap from Jimmy Cornette, trying to run us out of here, trying to take us there. But let me tell you something, Chavo and Hector, you really messed up when you brought Jimmy Cornette down to the ringside with you because you gave us everything you had. But you couldn't beat the Rock and Roll Express. Now, I'd like to thank all the nice fans of the TV station for picking up all these lead washers and handing them back to me. Because I guarantee you one thing, Hector and Chavo, look at this card right here. It says not sanctioned, no DQ. That means we can do anything that we want to, just like you did, brother. Yeah, do you think this? You think everybody around here owes you something? Well, nobody owes you nothing but the Rock and Roll Express. And I guarantee you in New Orleans, we're going to pay our debt. Hey, wait.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a Pier 6 brawl from start to finish. There's no way the Mid-South's going to sanction this situation. There's no rules. You might as well not have any rules because these 4 men won't follow them anyway in this particular situation. Lights out. Rock and Roll Express against the Guerreros. All-star card. It's Duggan against DiBiase. What a card. Great seats are still available at all Ticketmaster outlets. We'll see you Monday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is for the North American Heavyweight Championship. 1 fall or television time remaining. Introducing first, the challenger,
at 259 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, Ted DiBiase. His opponent, the North American heavyweight champion at 225 pounds from Marietta, Georgia, Brad Armstrong.
A tremendous encounter coming up with the sanctioned North American Heavyweight Championship on the line as Ted DiBiase, the challenger from Omaha, against Marietta, Georgia's North American Heavyweight title holder, Brad Armstrong. The referee for this title match, Ron West, and Ted DiBiase's associate on the outside, General Skandar Akbar.
Well, that's right, Boyd, and this should be a great title bout because Brad Armstrong, a tremendous athlete, he comes from a wrestling background, like you said, his dad, Bob Armstrong, one of the all-time greats, and Ted DiBiase. His father was Iron Mike DiBiase, a man who was fatally injured and died from that injury in the ring. Former Big 7 champion and amateur, national AAU champion, and Ted DiBiase followed his footsteps, and DiBiase has been North American champion. He knows what it is to be there, just like the Super Bowl. The oftentimes, it's the team that's been there the most that knows how to handle all the preparation and getting ready. And DiBiase is certainly a pressure man. DiBiase really bearing down on Brad Armstrong, I will tell you. This crowd is really starting to get behind Brad. Hey, Chad Boydman, Brad Armstrong responds. Drop kick in the hip toss, and Ted DiBiase, King Rex, just had his momentum brought to a screeching halt, and he's out there to be controlled by Skandar Akbar. Listen to this crowd here at the Irish Camille Boys Club. Ted DiBiase, the man who would like nothing better than to walk out and humiliated Hacksaw Duggan in his fine tuxedo and wearing the Lucien Picard cufflink given to him by Mid-South as being Athlete of the Year in 1984, which really has upset DiBiase. DiBiase wanted that award. And DiBiase had Dr. Death to back him up, and Akbar too, but Duggan had a special addition in the Rose Box. And now DiBiase feeling the wrath of a young Brad Armstrong as he defends that North American title. 27 pounds of silver and gold, the most prestigious belt. DiBiase got a hold of his tights and had him tilted up into a predicament. A great match. I think matchmaker Grizzly Smith has outdone himself here today on Mid-South. And next week, another great card. Terry Taylor will defend his television title against Nature Boy Buddy Landell. Buddy Landell said the Iceman cost him that title and wants Terry to defend it and asked him to be man enough to defend it without any help, and Terry Taylor has agreed. Also, Billy Jack, that great athlete that has renounced his ring name of Billy Jack because of his father's illness, is wrestling under his own name. Billy Haynes, that powerful young man from Portland, Oregon, will face Kamala, the Ugandan giant. So a great card here next week on Mid-South. Don't miss it. Side headlock, Brad Armstrong uses that tremendous upper body power he has, and DiBiase trying to get rid of it, but Armstrong, like a pit bulldog, he's got a great hold, and he's hanging on to it. DiBiase to the hair, forcing the referee to make the break, and you see how quick he's fouling on the break with the quick forearm smashes underneath the small rib cage and into the kidney area. But Brad Armstrong, tremendous conditioned athlete he is, and he stopped DiBiase. Backslide. He's got DiBiase. He had DiBiase, and he doesn't stop. Brad Armstrong, he takes it to you all the way. But DiBiase's got him by the tights. Ronnie West is out of position. Takes it to cradle. Now Ronnie West saw that DiBiase had the tights and wouldn't allow that fall. Ronnie West, one of the finest officials I think has ever refereed.
And much to the dismay of Skandar Akbar, Bill, on the outside, who really stirred up.
Akbar wants that North American title on DiBiase because DiBiase, his associate, that would force everybody to have to deal with the general and Ted DiBiase because the North American title is the flagship of Mid-South. There's Ted DiBiase locked in a death struggle with Hacksaw Duggan. And Akbar has Kamala. He's brought in the heaviest gun that he's ever had, the 387-pound giant, to try to put Butch Reed out of commission. Body check. DiBiase looked like he was really stunned on that one. He tries to make a good move. Brad Armstrong. And look, the fans love it, and you're right inside the ring with the Mid-South handheld camera. Takes you right inside the ring. Do everything but smell the popcorn. And Ronnie West counting both men. They both have a 10 count to get to their feet. It'll be a technical knockout situation. Listen to this crowd cheer Brad. DiBiase to his feet. Ronnie West quits counting DiBiase, starts counting Brad Armstrong, and Brad only has the 10 count. But DiBiase's not even going to let him see if he's counted out. He's going to go on the attack while Brad is still stunned. Flat of the foot to the head, that's legal. What tremendous bouts we've had today here on Mid-South Wrestling. Oh. That's whiplash. DiBiase, the master, the tactician, the man that when he gets you hurt, he will stay after you. He will stalk you, abuse you. Reverse neck breaker. You see how he stayed everything to the head and neck of Brad Armstrong. Kill the head, you kill the body. Reverse chin lock. Keeps the pressure right on Brad Armstrong. This is probably the most pressure-filled match this young champion has had. Of course, he came against a real tactician and a real master of psychology, Ernie Ladd, and beat him at his own game. So Brad Armstrong has lived up to all his billing. Former international champion off the Superstation, Atlanta, Georgia. He said he came to Mid-South because until you've gotten recognition in Mid-South, you're not respected in the wrestling world. And we've seen that other stars that have been stars in Mid-South have certainly proven that they can be stars in any wrestling area. And the reverse has not been true. We're proud of the competition here. You fans demand it. Listen to this crowd cheering for Brad Armstrong. Brad trying to break away. Brad Armstrong has hoisted DiBiase up and driven him backwards. Akbar's beside himself, Boyd.
He certainly is here. Yes, now to the midsection, the champion Brad Armstrong taking it to the challenger. Ted DiBiase, he himself a former North American title. Now it's 1 against 1, lugging away as they stand toe-to-toe. Ron West standing back. There goes down the challenger. And begging, moving back over to the corner where General China, but moving in, the champion stays with him and forces him over to high up elevation and down.
DiBiase is desperate right now because Brad Armstrong, boy, just like he said, he's taking it to him, and DiBiase can't get any slack. Sleeper, hold, boy.
Sleeper.
Brad Armstrong's got that sleeper on DiBiase. DiBiase won't have long, and if he doesn't get out of that, he will be on Green Street. Brad Armstrong's got him wrapped up. Ronnie West checking the hands. Akbar screaming out there. Ted DiBiase in a lot of trouble as Brad Armstrong has got him. Oh, DiBiase diving for the ropes, and Armstrong just got his throat driven hard into that middle cable. DiBiase in a desperation move may have lucked off, or else it may have been intentional. But he has just about decapitated Brad Armstrong. But DiBiase may not be able to pull it back together because he'd been in the grips of that sleeper for so long. DiBiase pulling Armstrong out of the ring onto the floor. No, he's taking Brad Armstrong. He's taking Brad Armstrong and driving his leg around that steel post. Ted DiBiase is pressuring Brad Armstrong's leg around that steel post. Brad Armstrong is writhing in pain as DiBiase dropping on that knee. Looks like he's badly damaged Brad Armstrong's knee. The crowd cheering for Brad Armstrong. DiBiase going for the figure four. He's got the figure four locked up. Ronnie West is asking Brad Armstrong. He's asking him. Brad Armstrong is in excruciating pain. Ronnie West calls for the bell. Brad Armstrong apparently is submitted. Brad Armstrong submitted. He's writhing in agony. And Ted DiBiase, the winner of this match, Ted DiBiase, the new North American champion, Ted DiBiase.
You see the smile on his face as he has the coveted belt across his chest, and here comes Akbar to congratulate him.
Ted DiBiase, the North American champion. He has that 27 pounds of silver and gold. And Skandar Akbar now has the bargaining tool he needed to force everybody to his type of terms. And Brad Armstrong, with all the courage in the world, laying there that they're administering to that knee.
And we'll be right back on the exciting Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
Aboard Chris, we've got a new North American champion, and they're seeing about Brad Armstrong. They're rushing some ice up there to the dressing room. It's a somber moment at this time. What that all means, we'll just have to see as Skandar Akbar and Ted DiBiase play their hand, because now they've got the one thing that DiBiase needed the most to try to dominate Mid-South. And let's go to a man that may be a focal point of all that, Hacksaw Butch Reed, as he took a day off and came to Tulsa and gave back some time to some really wonderful fans. Let's watch that now.
One of my days off, I went to Tulsa to do a video. I don't have very many days off, but when I can, I like to visit the devoted wrestling fans that are unable to attend the live wrestling matches and never see Mid-South wrestlers in person. I met a lot of kids at the Children's Medical Center. Most of the kids are unable to be shown on television because of law restrictions. But seeing the kids make me have admiration for them because they are fighters just like Hacksaw. But it makes me sad too, since a lot of them are disabled for life, and it makes me feel blessed because God gave me, and most importantly my kids, a healthy body and an athletic ability. Like I said before, they're fighters. And we're all fighters, and they've got a place in society, and they're some of the greatest wrestling fans we have. Here's another group of kids who are great wrestling fans. They're not physically disabled, but socially handicapped. I really enjoy talking with these guys, and this is what they liked about Mid-South Wrestling. They wanted old Hacksaw to show them a few wrestling holds, and I did. They even tried to teach me to break dance. They made me happy, not only because I was liked and loved, but also because I live in a free country and take care of kids like these. We Americans have a lot to be proud of, from the little kids that never quit to American working man and woman who love Old Glory. Americans have long stood together to fight the enemy, just like I'm doing right now against Skandar Akbar anti-American movement. People like Akbar will never defeat me, and the loyal Americans who support the Hacksaw as free, God-fearing Americans, as long as we stand by this flag and support what it stands for, people like Akbar will never beat us.
Well, we want to thank the children at the Children's Medical Center and the Tulsa Boys Home, and I know they joined together and thank Hacksaw Butch Reed, and he really enjoyed himself, and we want to thank my son Joel Watts for the cameras and putting it all together. That's a great thing when these athletes with their busy schedule thinking of these kids to go spend some time with them. We'll be back after these words from the Mid-South sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, now don't forget now, Sunday, February 3rd, Wrestling in Homa's East Park Recreation Center starting at 7:30. Ted DiBiase will be there. Kamala will be there. There'll be midgets on this card. Iceman King Parsons, Hacksaw Butch Reed, and many more. Also, the Rock and Roll Express, Terry Taylor Midgets, and the Guerreros will be in La Ranger at 7:30 on Saturday, February the 9th. Well, you've heard about the Lights Out match, no rules, no sanction. The Rock and Roll Express, they are irate, and they're ready to go and brawl with the Guerreros this Monday night at the UNO Lakefront Arena. You have the new North American champion here with me, Ted DiBiase. He'll be going against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. This will be one-on-one, ladies and gentlemen. No titles on the line. And Hacksaw Duggan was in the studio earlier, before we went on the air today. He recorded some comments. Let's hear them now.
Well, you know, I just had to go and show you folks that old Hacksaw Duggan, long time ago, I used to get all fancy danned up and take a pretty lady. That's one of the advantages of being single, taking a pretty lady out, handing her some roses. But down to New York, you got to have your head on a swivel. You got to be ready for anything. So inside that rose box, because I figured, sure enough, Ted DiBiase's come down and be sticking his big fat nose in my business. So old my number one slips me back in my my big old steel bar, and Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase hit the road. Want no more part of Hacksaw Duggan. Well, that's fine. So much for class, because anybody can put on a suit. But let me tell you something, DiBiase. Last time down in New Orleans, me and Gordy, we had things going our own way. Boom! There goes Dr. Death. Boom! There goes DiBiase, and you load the glove. Not this time, baby. I got something in store for you.
That sounds like he has a game plan mapped out for you, sir.
Well. It's a nice suit, Duggan. That's like putting the fancy clothes on an orangutan. You know, anybody, like you said, can put on a suit, Duggan, but class is something you're born with, baby. You don't wear it, and you're looking at class. I told you people that it was a matter of time before this North American heavyweight medal, this 27 pounds of gold and silver would be back across my shoulder, and baby, that's right where it is. I am, class personified. Duggan, the match the fans demanded. Let me tell you freeloaders out there something. Nobody demands anything at Ted DiBiase. What's a freeloader? It's all you beer-bellied Jim Duggan lookalikes that sit out there and turn your TV on and lay back and watch me for nothing. Well, if you want to see me pound on Duggan one more time, you're going to have to pay, and pay heavy, because I'm pure class, baby. I'm a North American heavyweight champion, and Duggan, I'm going to knock you out one more time down in New Orleans. I tapped you on the jaw when I come back. I told everybody what was going to happen, and just like E.F. Hutton, when I talk, people listen, and I'm more reliable than him.
Well, those comments from Ted DiBiase will be quite a battle. DiBiase against Duggan this Monday night at the UNO Lakefront Arena at 7:30. Match of Mid-South Wrestling, one fall, our television time remaining. Introducing first in the red corner at 250 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Jake the Snake Roberts. His opponent in the blue corner, weighing 224 pounds from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner.
This event between two top-rated grapplers, they each have a style all of their own, and just as opposite as daylight and dark is Tim Horner against Jake the Snake Roberts.
Quick move by Jake the Snake. One fall of television time remaining, boy. And remember, next week, Terry Taylor will defend the television title against Buddy Landell. Also, Billy Haynes, known also as Billy Jack, will face Kamala the Ugandan Warrior in what could be a tremendous main event. We've seen a lot here today on television, boys. There's two championship matches. And Tim Horner's got Jake the Snake. And what a feather in the cap of Timmy Horner to be able to upset Jake the Snake, who is one of the top superstars in wrestling. And look at him slither backwards out of the ring. And you see now why the people call him the Snake. Jake the Snake Roberts.
And Bill, this week all started off with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And I'll tell you, he showed a lot of class, regardless of what Ted DiBiase said. A lot of class as he came in dressed up. He had a beautiful young lady. He had the flowers. And he told Dr. Death C. Williams and Ted DiBiase he didn't come here to wrestle. He showed a lot of class, I think.
That's right. He said he was coming to take his lady out of the town. Just wanted to thank the fans of Mid-South that supported him as the 1984 Athlete of the Year. Showed his parents that he could dress up, fitting of the cufflinks that they had told us. They told us that was a gift they wanted us to give him, and they were trying, I think, inspired Duggan to wear some of the finer things that I think they knew he had and that had been worn in the past. And I think that, you know, every mom and dad and sister and brother, they like to see their younger brother, and he is the baby brother. They like to see him dressed up and look good as they can. 45 seconds television time remaining, and Tim Horner is really creating some problems for Jake the Snake. And Jake the Snake is desperate to make his name here on Mid-South because he's invaded this area, and he certainly wants to win. But Timmy Horner may be a little tougher than Jake the Snake had anticipated, Boyd.
Well, Bill, it's going down to the wire. Remember, next week, Terry Taylor defending his television title against Buddy Landell. Billy Jack versus Kamala.
Oh, wait, Terry Taylor. I thought we about had one, Boyd. Stay with us.
Hope you'll join us next week. For Bill Watts, Jim Ross, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye, everybody. Until next week on the Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.